Hey guys, what would it be like if you could last 10 times longer when you're having sex?
We are going to teach you how to gain massive confidence as a lover, all without performance anxiety, gimmicks, or prescription.
This course is perfect for you if you've ever been mortified by a sexual encounter that ended way too early.
Or if you've ever avoided intimacy out of fear that you won't last as long as your lover desires. Or maybe you long to give your partner multiple orgasms but can't last long enough to make that a reality.
Well, good news, we've got your back, and it's in our course, Last 10 Times Longer. Go to sexreimagined.com/last dash the number 10 X dash longer.
And for all of our favorite listeners out there, we are giving you a discount, 20% off, y'all. Just put in podcast 20, all caps, podcast 20 to get your 20% off of this phenomenal course that you're going to want to review more than once.
We cannot wait to see you inside this course. Plus, don't forget, we always got tons of bonuses. See you there.
Ever feel like your sex life has gone from fireworks to lukewarm candles? You're definitely not alone. On today's episode of Sex Reimagined, we're counting down the top 5 reasons sex gets boring, and more importantly, how to reignite the spark, reclaim your desire, and make every encounter feel electric again. So get ready to uncover what might be sneaking in between you and your pleasure. I'm Dr. Willow Brown. I'm here with the one and only Leah Piper, and we are Sex Reimagined.
So tune in, turn on, and fall in love with us, Leah and Willow.
Welcome to the Sex Reimagined podcast, where sex is shame-free and pleasure-forward. Let's get into the show.
Sex gets boring.
It sure does. It's such a bummer when that happens, but it does happen to all of us, to the best of us. It's just one of those things where you start to, find your little groove, and then you stick with your groove because that groove works. And before you know it, you're in a ditch that you just can't find your way out.
Unfortunately, sex does get boring after a while. Sometimes it's because you're with the same partner for years and years and years. Other times it's, maybe you're just not very good at bed. No, that can't be it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Sex can get very routine. It can get very boring. I think one of the reasons for this is because we have orgasm as the goal of sex. And if we take orgasm off the table, lots more creativity starts to flow, which we're always talking about. But when we take the opportunity to look at like what is boring about it. Is it because we've done it a million times in that position, or we always do it in that room, or we always do it at that time of day? It could just be very simple changes, and you could still keep the same position, or you can keep the same, place in the house, but share another layer of what's going on for you sexually with your partner to make it more novel. Let's talk about these 5 reasons that sex gets boring. Lack of novelty.
Yeah. So, I kind of said in jest, maybe it's just because you're not a very good lover. But the truth is, many of us aren't.
Good lovers.
None of us were taught how to be a skillful lover. Some people luck out and they're just kind of wired for some curiosity, and they practice, and they're so interested in the topic that they really spend time learning about it. Other people never learn about it because they're shy or uncomfortable or insecure or lack of opportunity. That's why novelty is so important. We're reaching for things that feel different so we don't get stuck. So sometimes that means being more creative. A lack of novelty is getting stuck in a rut. Repeated positions, or the same sexual activities, or the same toys. Like, how many of you have been using the same vibrator for the last 5, 10, 15,
years.
20 years? I mean, guilty. And not to say that you shouldn't use the one that's tried and true, but let me tell you, there are some new toys on the market.
There's a world of good toys.
Much advancement in the world of toys, and in the world of also like getting more blood to the tissue, whether that's a vulva or a penis. There's so much great technology out there. In fact, we did a great episode, I think it was episode 132,
With
the creator of Mystery Vibe.
Yeah, Dr. Solmrak Sheet. He's
Yeah, I'm sorry, episode 142.
142. Go check it out. You will want to learn from this man. He's kind of a genius and created a whole line of really phenomenal toys, some of which Leah and I have been test running for all of you, and we highly recommend. So the Poco is super fun. The Tenuto is super fun. All of his vibrators are named after the crescendo. They're named after musical notes.
Yeah, so novelty. What are some of the things that you've tried in the past 5 years in the name of novelty, Willow?
I mean, wow, you really want to hear?
Fuck yeah, everyone wants to hear. Are you kidding?
Oh my God. I've done so many things, you guys, that I never, ever thought I would do. Like really fun and playful and exciting things. So definitely have gotten more into multiple partners, play parties, being watched, watching others, pegging men. Never thought I would do that. I don't get a lot of get off on it, but I find it interesting. I find it very fascinating.
It's so cool to watch them get off.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of gives you a different relationship to being penetrated, by a man when you're penetrating a man. And some men just they have, it's not necessarily a gay thing. There's just a lot of nerve endings up in there and they just love the sensation and they have phenomenal orgasms. I mean, I have played with sex swings. My all this stuff is like, it's novel for sure and it's fun, but like my main get off is when I'm with a lover that I'm deeply in love with and like in those tantric intimate moments where we're just in each other's eyes and souls and eye gazing. That's really what feeds and nourishes me on a sexual level. Because I run more of that energetic and sensual kind of blueprint more naturally. But I would definitely say over the past 3 years, I've expanded quite a lot into the sexual blueprint, which is like, give it to me, fuck me now, And then I've also really expanded in the last probably 1.5 to 2 years into the kink and the sub-dom world. And I tell you what, I'm impressed with some of the dom sessions that I've run in my day these past, couple of years. So it's just, there's so much beyond what we think of as sex to play with. And it's really just about getting out of your own way, not judging yourself and others, and picking up a crop and spanking someone's ass and seeing what happens,
Yeah. And I think where a lot of people get stuck in novelty is they try something once and then they set it down and they say, oh, that's never for me again. That's a terrible way to look at sexuality, is to just go, well, I tried it for a second and it's just not for me. Like, you have to actually test something and then do little corrections. There's so much nuance when it comes to sex and trying new things that it's not about just trying something once and setting it down. It's trying something and then having a delicious conversation about the nuances of what worked for you and what didn't work for you. And if we were ever to try this again, maybe we would switch it up here or do something a little bit different there. And maybe we would try this. And it's like you're curating, you're allowing yourself to have an experience beyond just like, yeah, well, we tried eye gazing. It was awkward. No, there's so much more that you can, explore. So give it more than just one chance, because a lot of times people will go into novelty usually because one person is like really kind of starving for something different and new. And the other person is showing up for it reluctantly. Like, I don't really want to do this, And so you have to be able to look inside of yourself and dig in for that curiosity and really meet your partner with some enthusiasm to discover more within yourself. It's not just a gift you're giving your partner by showing up with some enthusiasm, even if you're the more reluctant one. It's actually go inside and go, what can I discover about myself? That's the beauty of novelty. It's giving yourself multiple experiences. And it's also okay to go, hey, we tried that a few times. Not really my jam, Okay, cool. What's the next creative thing you can engage in? And it doesn't have to be extremes. It doesn't necessarily have to be BDSM. It could just be something like, hey, let's massage each other before we have sex.
Mm-hmm. Or let's go out somewhere public, not have sex in public, but just like start to get intimate in a different environment, like sitting, like instead of always being in your bedroom at home or on your couch in your living room, go to the park, spread out a blanket and do some, eye gazing or breath work, or just like crawling around on the grass together and kind of getting into a more connected primal state.
You will never see me crawling around in the park.
Well, never say never.
Oh no. Well, what I think is really interesting about what you're saying is that a lot of couples talk about their sexual problems in the same place every single time and never get anywhere. And what I kind of love about what you're saying is like, have those intimate conversations, maybe somewhere else where you're finding no solutions. Get off the couch, go talk about it in the closet, go talk about it in the bathtub, go talk about it outside.
Talk about what you want, talk about your fantasies. Don't just talk about the issue, like talk about something other than the issue. Talk about what it would feel like and what it would be like for you if you could get out of the rut that you're in, if you could experience the kind of sex that maybe you don't know how to get there or what it is, but if you could experience the kind of sex that we're always talking about, how would that feel to you? So go somewhere else outside of your normal environment and just open up the conversation. Because what happens is like, then a butterfly flies by and you're like, oh, and it's, it just opens up something inside of you.
Yeah. Which leads us really, this beautiful segue to lack of communication is one of the reasons why sex gets boring. And I think that the conversation for me would be totally different from sitting on the couch and talking about that stressful conversation versus going to a nice cocktail bar and having a really beautiful, yummy cocktail and sitting down and I'm dressed up and me and my partner are now really engaged looking at each other. I think a totally different conversation is possible when we get out of our normal places and we'll find inspiration. Like somehow a new solution may occur because you're not in sort of, honestly, the safe little bubble where you can just all complain. I don't like this and I don't like that. And I wish this was different. Instead of going, like you said, how do I get the sex that I want? And it's a real challenge when you don't know what the sex you want looks like. You just know you don't want the sex you're getting.
Yeah. And more importantly, like identifying what does it feel like? Like you might not know how to get there and you might not know how to express that to your partner, but like, what is the feeling that you want to have? Do you want to feel more connected? Do you want to feel more sexy in your body? Do you want to feel more curious and playful? Do you want to feel less shame? Do you want to feel less constriction? Do you want to feel less pressure? What are the things that you actually like have a conversation about how you want to feel, and then together you guys can explore, how to get there.
And that's where like a lot of nonverbal communication and tactile communication can come into play. It's not always about words. I think sometimes people can get really stuck in their heads. And if you don't know how you want to be touched, a great thing to do with your partner is for your partner to say, hey, just take my hand and put it somewhere on your body. And then you can actually, you might place their hand on the side of your neck. You might place their hand on the side of your hip. You may place their hands so they're running their fingers through your hair. And it doesn't have to be sexual. It doesn't have to lead to sex, but that's a whole nother type of communication where you're allowing yourself to feel the presence of your partner's touch. And then as you feel into that, and it feels nice, then maybe take their hand and move it to another location. And you can also use your hand on your partner's skin and then touch them the way you want them to touch you. For instance, if you want them to shift the pressure that they're using, show them by touching them the amount of pressure that you want. Because things like touch me lighter, touch me slower, touch me faster, give me a stronger grip, they're all subjective when we're using language. When you can show someone tactilely what you mean by changing how they're touching you, They get it. You got to come up with a way that allows them to get a win.
Let's take a quick break.
Ladies, do you want to explore your sexuality and experience true sexual healing?
The Vaginal Orgasms Masterclass teaches you and your partners how to unlock your full sexual potential and awaken the G-spot, the sacred spot, and the cervix for an unforgettable sexual experience. Would learning how to finally surrender and release grief, fear, and uncertainty benefit your outlook on life, love, and relationships? We certainly think so. Common misconceptions of the G-spot, including its anatomy and function as an erogenous zone, will be covered in this course.
Plus, we're going to teach you 7 different massage strokes for the G-spot that dissolve blocked energy and increase your pleasure tenfold.
We're going to teach you how to locate the sacred spot and the best methods to stimulate it for maximum pleasure.
And you're going to learn about cervical orgasm techniques, which are the most powerful and also often elusive style of climaxing. You know, this class is primarily geared toward women, but men have taken it as well and learned so much about how to pleasure their partners.
So get ready for multiple O's, my friends. And you can get all of that at sexreimagine.com/female-masterclass. And for being a listener of the show, we've got a beautiful coupon code for you. It is 20% off this course. Just type in podcast20, that's all caps, podcast20, and get yourself a great deal on this on-demand course.
Absolutely. Well, let's kind of shift into this routine sex. We've talked about like the lack of novelty where things just aren't that exciting anymore.
Interesting.
Not being able to communicate well around sexuality because it's, let's face it, it can be a very embarrassing and shameful topic to even know what words to use. And that's why one of the reasons we give you all these amazing episodes is just to help you with language, just so that we're trying to just normalize the conversation of sex. And I can't tell you how many people tell me about their sex lives that they don't talk to anyone else about, friends and clients and all the people, and they're like, God, it is so refreshing to be able to talk about this with someone. And I think if we can find someone that we feel comfortable talking about it with, it also gives us a lot more openness to be able to talk about it with our partners. So just find someone in your life that you can communicate about sexuality with. It doesn't have to be your partner right away, but it's going to open a gate for you to talk with your partner about it more.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead. You want to say something?
I was just going to say, and if you are really nervous about it and it does make you uncomfortable and icky sensations do arise in your body when these conversations happen and you don't know how to work with that, start the conversation by saying, I'm really uncomfortable, but I think this conversation's important. And I'm kind of scared to talk about it because I get this feeling in my stomach and I really just need your help. And this is sensitive for me. Will you be here for me? And can we get better at this together? Would you be willing to have this kind of conversation with me? And if you've tried that and it hasn't really helped, the next thing you do is write. Get it on paper. Write your partner an email. Maybe first you write yourself an email and you have this conversation more with yourself. And then you can write it with your partner and you can say, this is still really hard for me. So let's start this by writing back and forth and work our way up to talking about it.
I love that. I think that's going to be super useful for so many couples. Absolutely. Let's talk about routine. Routine sex.
I can certainly relate to this one. Probably every long-term relationship I've ever had has gotten stuck in routine. I think we find that go-to position where everyone has the best chances to come in. So then that's our go-to. And it's like, it's time efficient. And for some reason, it's just like an easier get off. And what I've noticed is like that position could be really hot in the beginning and super fun and ecstatic. And then it becomes your go-to. And the next thing you know, like your breaths are no longer synced up and you never open your eyes. Your eyes are always closed because you're both off in your own little erotic mind. And you're not really having a shared experience. Both of you are in your own bodies reaching for that climax. So I think what gets us stuck in routine is the goal of an orgasm,
Mm-hmm.
which is really hard to
Absolutely.
resist, frankly.
I mean, yeah, I mean that it's great to have an orgasm. It's just
Yeah.
if that's the only thing you're looking at within the experience of your sexuality, then you miss a lot of possibility. So,
Yeah. I think it's the quickest thing to shift than
yeah.
probably anything else in a routine is going, I'm not going to make our sex the goal of orgasm. I'm going to make the goal of our sex about love. If I
Mm-hmm.
can make it about love, and here's the truth, you guys, if you make sex about love, the orgasms follow. And you don't even have to think about it. You don't have to go chasing the orgasm. If you really make it about intimacy, I want to connect with you, then, and that doesn't have to be like, I think sometimes couples hear this, especially, less new agey couples. And they're like, God, it's so weird. Like, I have to think about loving my partner. Like, I just want to get off. Like, okay, hey, I get that, but suspend that for a minute. Think about it as like fueling your partner. Think about it as enlivening yourself. Like, here's a chance for me to connect to my partner, and both of us are like purposely creating more aliveness so that we can do life even better together. And so
Mm-hmm.
that mindset shift, it can be really dramatic. And one of the ways that you can drop into that more easily is think about your heart when you're doing each other, look into each other's eyes periodically. Like, if you could, and this might be a stretch, but try to like look into each other's eyes at least 50% of the time. And if sometimes eye contact's a little tricky because you might like feeling sensation, maybe a little more elusive. So then you close your eyes and you bolster that sensation and then you open them again. And it's like you're giving your partner a feeling of the sensation that's in your body by allowing that sensation to come up to your eyes, and then you're sharing it with them. Synchronizing your breath. These are all like super easy, super simple. And just like the mindset shift of going, I'm going to fuck you so that you feel more alive than you've ever felt. And then the
Mm-hmm.
pleasure just, it amplifies by itself. No one has to go chasing. There's no
Mm-hmm.
more, are we successful? Did everybody come?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that, getting just different tools under your belt, getting different positions. The Kama
Change the
Sutra.
positions.
Kama
Yeah.
Sutra is filled with all kinds of different positions, and you know we find these positions that like exactly work for us to get to orgasm, and so we always go back to those positions. And we're not saying throw those positions out. we're
No.
saying we're
No.
saying
Dress them
add
up.
to them. Yeah.
Like,
Dress them
maybe
up.
wear a wig.
Yeah. Do a little role play. I mean, there's so many
Yeah.
options. I love hearing about couples who've been together for a long time and they meet up in a bar and pretend
Yeah.
like they don't know each other, because think about like when you're first with someone for the first time and you're just exploring their energy for the first time, like, there's no routine.
So exciting. Yeah.
There's all novelty,
Yeah.
and like they are whoever you want them to be.
Yeah.
So they're perfect in your eyes, because you don't really know them yet. And it's an opportunity to like just pretend again, like this is a totally new person. And, in the whole Buddhist tradition, there's like look at life with the beginner's eye, come
Yeah.
back to the curious and the beginner's eye, where it's like, I don't know anything about you. If you head into a sexual experience thinking, I don't know anything about you, even though we've
Yeah.
had sex for 15 years straight, like,
Right.
I don't know anything about what's going on, because probably you don't know a lot of what's going on in their erotic mind. You
Yeah.
probably don't know a lot about what could turn them on in their bodies. And so you get to just be like, wow, this person is brand new to me. And we were both, Leah and I talked with a couple recently after
Mhm.
our last summit, and I think they've been together for
Yeah, for
32
years, having the
years.
best sex of their life.
3 kids in their older
Yes.
age, and they're like, it's
In their
like we're in a
70s.
whole new marriage. That
Yeah.
we're just like, it's like we're married to someone totally different now.
Yeah. I
But it's
love
the
that
same person.
example.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were
It's
amazing.
like, I think we really take for granted that we think we know everything about our partner.
Mhm.
And when you can, like you said, it's like you look at your partner with brand new eyes. I know
Mhm.
there's more to discover because we're always changing. And a part of the routine is we get so stuck in the routine that we forget to look at each other new. I think too, when it comes to routine, like it can be having sex in different rooms. When you've only had sex in your bed for the last 10, 20, 30 years, try having sex. Matt and I had sex. I was like brushing my teeth. He was just getting out of the shower. And the next thing you know, I'm bent over the sink. And what was so fun about it is the mirror was staged perfectly. And it was so freaking hot. Like, have closet sex. Maybe you got kids or something. Go lock yourself in the closet. All those clothes are going to muffle the sound. Do something like totally different. Have sex somewhere else.
Have sex
And
outside. Ooh,
yes.
risky.
Now, here's part of like the paradox, because one of the things you'll always hear sex experts recommend is get your sex on a schedule. Long-term relationships, if you do not get sex on a schedule, you won't have sex.
Mhm.
So you got to treat it like an important business meeting.
Mhm.
And I really recommend that. I think spontaneous sex is so overrated. And because it's like, you have to feel it. And then, guess what? Your partner has to feel it. Rarely does anyone feel like it at the same time.
Do you guys have it on a schedule?
Yes, sometimes we do have it on schedule, sometimes we don't. But
Okay.
I'll tell you, when we make the point of having it on a schedule, we have more sex.
It's better. Yeah, you have more
Totally.
sex.
And it's better. And that's where you can really plan to get out of the routine.
Mhm.
I've got a date at 4:00. So let's do something. We're going to start it off with giving each other massages instead
Mhm.
of just getting it done.
Right.
I'm going to start it by undressing him. I never undress him.
Right.
We just both take off our clothes.
Right.
I'm gonna, it's 7:00. The kids are away, and it's summertime. I'm gonna take a blanket outside in the backyard, and
Mhm.
maybe I'll get a tent so no one can see. I mean, there's so many things that you can do to break
Yeah.
routine when you
Yeah.
have it on a schedule. And what's fun is you can go, okay, I'll plan this week. You plan next week, and
that.
see how you can kind of make it special for each other.
That's so fun. Okay, so many ways to get over routine. Let's talk about another issue that gets in the way and creates a boring sex life, which is just like underlying relationship issues,
Yeah,
power
to want.
struggles, old traumas, resentments,
Resentments, the biggie.
just, the and also like apathy, like lack
Yeah.
of, just like your partner's they lay around and fart
Yeah.
and burp and like, what's sexy about that? And,
Right,
it's like,
right. We're just so used to each other.
yeah.
Those relationship issues, the problem with relationship issues that are unresolved is that we stop trusting each other. And probably worse than that, we stop trusting ourselves. We stop trusting that we can come up with solutions that work for both of us. We stop trusting that we're going to enjoy it. We stop showing up for it. We blow it off. We have fights that were never resolved. We just gave up because we couldn't get anywhere. All of that ends up harming the desire for intimacy with our partner. And that's one of those relationship issues get in way of the loving. It gets in the way of being interested in our partner.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think can really help that is you connecting to your higher self. You imagine your partner is connected to their higher self, and then you speak to each other from your higher selves, not necessarily from your wounded trigger part. And so if you can put your attention on your partner's higher self and you can put your attention on your higher self when you're having sex, your higher selves are the ones who are leading you into this more transcendent sexual experience. And when we can have more transcendent, even more spiritual sex, it ends up healing a lot of
the
hurts.
relationship issues. Yes.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's like this is very classic Chinese medicine too. It's like when somebody's coming to you and they're, having an issue with their liver or an issue with their skin or some kind of autoimmune issue or whatever. We want to look for what's not functioning, but we want to look for what is functioning in the body. And then we want to fortify that. We want to give more chi and more blood flow and more movement to the thing that is, to all the things that are already working. And so it's the same thing in our relationships, like in our sexuality. We want to look for the places that are working and put more focus, put more emphasis on those. And basically all the good then pushes out the bad. Like there's no more space for the bad. And we just can let things go. We can
Beautiful.
just release the traumas, release the triggers, release the infidelities, release all the things that we're holding on to in our bodies. I think that's one of the things that Leah and I have been seeing. Leah has been seeing for 20 plus years, and I've been seeing more recently in working with people hands-on, one-on-one, to really show them how incredible their bodies are and how much their pleasure can heal their old shit. And it doesn't matter what that old shit was anymore. You don't have to talk through it in talk therapy. You don't have to work through it anymore. It's just out of your tissues. It's out of your body and you're done with it. And you move on.
One of the best exercises, Willow and I can play this exercise so you guys can get a feeling for it, is the bubble. And the bubble is when you and your partner come together and you have to do the hand movements. I'm sorry, they're kind of dorky.
But you have to do them.
You have to do them because it's what creates the magic. So you both kind of bring your arms up and you imagine like, here's our bubble, and you make the shape of like your arms are making a circular shape up above your head. And you're like, this bed is our bubble. And we each have a moment to take anything we want out of the bubble and to put good things in the bubble so that your intimacy, you're taking things that aren't going to get in the way. It's great. It's like a way to get your triggers out of your intimate space and then to like give you all the good things. So you each have a turn. I'll go first and we're going to take out things that we don't want in our bubble. So I take my hand like as if I'm going into the center of the bubble, and then it's like I pluck that thing and I take it out of the bubble and I throw it out of the bubble. So for instance, I'm going to take out my self-consciousness. I'm going to take out my shame. I'm going to take out judgments. I'm going to take out my inner critic. I'm going to take out the affair I had 12 years ago that hurt us so much. I'm going to take out not trusting myself. I'm going to take out my dad's fucking rules. What the fuck are you still doing in here? Out of my sex life. Thank you very much. And I'm going to take out self-loathing.
Okay.
And now it's Willow's turn.
I'm going to take out my stress. I'm going to take out my overwhelm. I'm going to take out my fatigue. I'm going to take out my hurt from the past. I'm going to take out my heartbreak. I'm going to take out my unwillingness. I'm going to take out my judgment. I'm going to take out my criticisms. I'm going to take out my lack of trust in you. I'm going to take out my lack of trust in me.
Beautiful. And now we get a chance to put things in. So now I'm going to kind of reach out here and I'm going to put things into the bubble with my hand. So I'm going to put in my high priestess. I'm going to put in laughter. I'm going to put in curiosity. I'm going to put in the love of our pets. I'm going to put in the love of my father. I'm going to put in my love for you. I'm going to put in good communication. I'm going to put in we both win. I'm going to put in my juiciness. I'm going to put in orgasms. I'm going to put in arousal. I'm going to put in transcendent, spiritual, sacred energy.
Good ones. I'm gonna put all that shit in too for myself. I'll take all of that too. And then I'm gonna put in curiosity. I want to put in present. I want to put in erotic levels beyond what I've ever explored before. I want to put in the beauty of nature. I want to put in new levels of consciousness through our rapture. I want to put in positions I've never gotten into before. I want to put in deeper levels of connection than I've felt with you before.
Nice. And then we both just bask in like, wow, I feel so much better.
Yeah,
like
so much. I feel better.
Right? Don't you feel lighter? Yeah. You ready to throw down?
Yeah.
But it's amazing how much that clears, especially when you're already kind of coming into this thing like, okay, we scheduled this and I have to do it. But you
Yeah.
really fucking pissed me off yesterday and you're still holding on to it. And so to be
Yeah.
able to clear that,
Yeah.
you will be really, really amazed at how much better you feel like instantaneously. So take a pregnant pause afterward
Yeah.
and bask in how you've made a shift.
Mm-hmm.
And then like be with your partner in that shift and soften. Like this is such a beautiful moment of like softening. Like, that's right. I love you. You're one of my favorite people to hang out with. I'm so glad I get to do this with you.
How
And I've
often
been,
do you and Matt do this,
you
actually?
know,
I
I did it
forgot
a
about the
lot
bubble.
more
It's
with
so good.
previous partners who
Okay.
I struggled with more.
Okay.
Matt and I are pretty harmonic, so we don't carry a lot of pent-up resentment. So I do this more with clients and
Yeah.
couples
Yeah.
than I need to do it with Matt.
Mhm.
Though it's a great reminder to just do it
Yeah.
anyways,
To
because
do it
we
anyway.
don't have a lot of shit between each other
Yeah.
to co-create a more fertile field to
But
make love.
it's also,
It's great
yeah,
reminder.
it's so
Actually.
good. And it's also just like letting go, maybe even not necessarily taking stuff out between the two of you, but just your own stuff, you know,
That's
so that you
right.
can clear your own vessel and be more ready
Right.
to receive love and arousal and rapture.
It's such a good point. In fact, I think it'd be really fun for you and I to do this before business meetings, before planning, because
Oh, let's do that.
I've been experiencing a lot of shame lately in just how prickly I can be. And I really don't want to be a prickly person. Who wants to be around a prickly person? You know, people walk around eggshells around a prickly person. You never know what you're going to get. They can be moody. And I'm really afraid of that side of myself. And as I get
Ah.
older, I'm really like, I'm afraid that I'm going to get more and more rigid. And I'm thinking about like neuroplasticity and
Mhm.
how do I increase the neuroplasticity inside of me when I don't feel like I always have control over my little, you know? And so
Mhm.
I think this is a great So
Yes.
you guys, we're going to practice
Use
this.
it in your sex life, use it in your
Yes.
business life.
Yes, that's right.
Use it.
Okay.
We will start the journey and report back and let you know how
Wait,
it's
You know
going.
what's interesting? This is a great segue because our last thing to talk about when it comes to boring sex is age in life changes. And I certainly
Yeah,
feel like
totally.
I'm in one of those seasons of changes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, when you're in a relationship, long-term relationship, it's you know, hormones start to decline. I
Totally.
mean, your mental capacity starts to decline. Brain fog is a real fucking thing. You can't remember what you were going to tell your partner, you
The
know,
story of my life right
in
now.
the middle of a sentence, you know, and peptides help with that, by the way, y'all. But anyway, and hormones, so hormone replacement therapy. And for some of you who are not ready to go that route, there's tons of herbs too. Bacopa for the brain. I mean, there's so many herbs to help you with your mental clarity and with your hormones balance. But it's like, I think also another thing that happens as we're aging is our bodies are changing, and we don't have the same sort of confidence that we used to have. Like, oh, my tits are a little saggier and my arms are a little more wrinkled, and you know, like all these things, and there's so much emphasis put on young being beautiful that it's hard for us to see the beauty in us as we age. And so if
you
you
think
can
about, like,
share that with your partner, you know, on a very consistent, regular basis, like, I love your crow's feet. They're gorgeous. Like, they make your eyes sparkle 10 times more. Bring them on, you know, whatever it is.
I love the way your stretch marks feel. I don't have to look at them. I can feel them, and I love the texture of them.
Yeah.
And when we're looking at like stages, it's like those people who are having children for the first time and they're busy with their careers and wanting to reach success and some financial security. And then they're having babies and how babies suck the sexual life out of you. You have to come up with things that are going to enliven your energy again. And then as we get older, women feel like between their hormones, like you mentioned, vaginal tearing, lack of lubrication. Men, their penises can get hard, but they can't stay hard. And like all the embarrassment with that. And what that really forces us to do, again, comes back to creativity and realizing that we get very narrow-minded when we think that all sex is penetration. There are so many ways to have ecstasy. There are
Mhm.
so many ways to have a deep, deep, fulfilling intimacy and connection. And when all we think of sex is whether or not we're successful or not, it's getting a dick into a pussy, we are really missing the mark. We are
Mhm.
leaving so much pleasure on the table. And so we all need to broaden our definition of orgasm and our definition of pleasure and our definition of sex. Because if I were to say what is orgasm, I would say it's energy and movement that feels pleasurable. That means like maybe you're naked and you're pressed up against each other and you are laughing
Laughing
joyfully.
gasms are really
Yes,
good
they
gasms, you guys.
count. Yeah.
They're almost better than orgasms, almost.
Yeah, yeah, they're right up there. You can have
They're right
peak
up there.
experiences by generating joy between each other and
Mhm.
really loving each other's company. And
Mhm.
so be way more creative on how you reach pleasure. It doesn't always require a hard penis. Thank you very much. There's some orgasms women can have without your erection, and you should find out where they are and how to do them.
Mhm. Absolutely. They're fun, fun, fun.
Yeah. And then get
Um,
medical support. Like Dr. Willow is a great example of somebody who can help you with your hormones. She can help you with peptides. She can give you the best herbs that are going to give you more vitality. And that's really one of the main functions of sex is to increase our vitality. So when we strip down, because we're getting naked, we're not just getting naked skin to skin, though that's really, really important. We're getting naked soul to soul. And that's
mhm.
the one of the purest forms of what sexuality gives us as a gift in our life is
Mhm.
having those moments where we are encountering each other kind of at the most stripped down, the most raw, hopefully the most playful.
Yeah. It's a beautiful opportunity to get to know yourself even deeper.
Yeah. And as age, like when we think about it from an aging perspective, this is the playground where you finally reach it. You're an adult. They let you have sex now, Think of all the sex you wish you could have had when you were younger, and everyone's telling you, no, 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 no. No one's telling you no anymore. Everyone is saying yes, 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 yes.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
why are you telling yourself no?
Yeah, I don't know why this is making me think of this, but it's like I think there's also something about claiming what you want in your sexuality. Like I'm thinking about some of the divorced men that I coach, and they've been in sexless marriages for a long time, and they're sexual beings, and then they're like, now I'm out of the marriage, but I don't know what to do with all this sexuality. How do I even navigate it? And for I'm thinking like for a man to claim like I just want to be like a bit of a slut for a while, like I just want to go play the field, like to claim that's
Yeah,
okay. Like you can,
right.
if that's what you want, there's nothing bad or
Yeah.
wrong about
There's
it.
people out there who will join you
Who
in that
want that.
happily.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
like, great, that's what I want too. And so it's about like getting very clear about what you want. Let's say you're in a long-term relationship and marriage and maybe, the sex hasn't been there and just claiming what you want. Like I want to get into kink and BDSM. I want to
Yes.
explore that realm. And if your partner can't meet you or match you there, at least you have the clarity that will allow them to find hopefully their own clarity so that you guys can find a common ground. Because it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter what the disparity is. There's always a common ground.
Yeah.
And having your own clarity is the first step to that.
I love that you brought that up. Being able to, in a shame-free, and this takes practice of
Totally.
getting shame-free
Yeah.
around your desires, of being able to claim them without guilt and without shame, and then to pursue them. That takes courage. It takes self-reflection. It takes honesty. It takes trusting yourself. It's great fodder to work with a coach or a therapist on so that you can own it. And you got to excavate some of that stuff to discover what is that. Yeah, I want to be dominated. How do you find someone who you can do that with? How do you negotiate that in your relationship? And sometimes we're not meant to stay in a relationship. Sometimes we're in a relationship for a season in our life. We come together to have kids, or we come together for this 5 years or 7 years or 2 years, and then it's time for your next teacher. And we don't have to hate each other to get over each other. We can kind of bow and say, thank you, teacher, and move on along your
Mhm.
path and wish that person well. So
Mhm.
it's also okay to find we're really not a sexual fit. and this is a very important part of my life, and I want to find someone who this is easier with. It's a hard choice to make, but it is oftentimes the right choice to make. So,
Yeah, it
whatever
opens up
that's
so
worth.
much. Yeah, it opens up so much. It can be so liberating.
Yeah. So
Um,
those are our 5
yeah, those are our 5 top
obstacles.
obstacles, reasons that
Yeah.
sex gets boring. Let's talk a little bit about the
Well,
solutions.
let's just review them. Like, we got
Okay.
lack of novelty, lack of communication, routine, relationship issues, and age and life changes. And now we want to give you some more solutions.
And some of these solutions we've already been touching on and talking about, like
Yeah.
communicating openly, talking about your fantasies, your
Yeah. Try
desires,
new
your
things.
needs. Even if you're not sure of like, oh, I heard Dr. Willow talk about pegging a man. I have no idea. That doesn't appeal to me at all. But the conversation was interesting,
Yeah.
like just talking about what you hear in other places.
Right.
Bringing just conversation, like, just wow, I wonder what that would be like, just wondering, and just you don't have to do anything you don't want to
Right.
do ever.
And speaking of this very thing, I was listening to another podcast, and it was with an author who wrote a book about women's fantasies, and a bunch of women mailed in their fantasies. And one of the things that took her by surprise was this infantile diaper type of fantasies. And as the conversation went on, what really illuminated for me is, when you have that infantile thing, like, imagine someone's taking care of you. And you don't have to be in control, right? It's like you pee in a diaper and you don't have to do anything, and it's not necessarily whatever you're kinking on. It's like, wow, making sense of someone's taking care of me. Someone's cleaning me up. Someone's caring for me. I don't have to make any decisions. There's no responsibility. I want to go back where I'm unconditionally loved and I'm caretaken. I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense now. Why someone may crave that. I had never put that together simply because I couldn't connect to it. But when you look at different kinks from that lens, it's like, oh, sure, that's really sweet. It's sweet to be nurtured. It's sweet to not have to make a decision. All of a sudden that makes sense. And you could never get there if you never have the conversation. If you're never open-minded enough to talk about those things that you hear about, like pegging.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Now, what would we say? Because pegging is extreme, but like, what would we say to somebody who's like, okay, I have no idea how to even like bring up the topic about sex, or I'm so uncomfortable talking about anything related to sexuality. Maybe there's religious shame and guilt on top of it all. Like, how does somebody who's just like,
you start there.
I don't even have a clue. Like, how do they start?
That's what they say. I don't even have a clue. I don't even know where to begin, but I'm willing to find out. That's the key. Is I feel really stuck here. I'm really scared. When I start thinking about talking about sexuality, I feel really icky. Okay, where do you feel it? Yeah, just be with that feeling. Feel the grief of that. Feel the part, talk about the part of like how you wish it was easier for you. Let somebody hold your hand as you just kind of feel the stuckness. And if you can sit with that and be with that for a few breaths, I think you'll find that it'll start to lift.
Yeah.
And it's really like, it's just getting started. It's like owning where you're at and being vulnerable and honest and see where it takes you. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's good advice. Definitely. Just talking about like how it feels inside of your body. Like, what's the sensation of the resistance that you have?
Yeah.
Where does that resistance live in your body? I think going into the body and going into the soma around where you feel stuck and where you feel shameful or embarrassed to talk about sex.
And then put your hands in the place that feels uncomfortable, like you're holding that place with care.
Yeah.
I think the other thing.
Go ahead. Well, I was just going to say, and then kind of identify what are the emotions that are there. You said grief. Yeah, sometimes grief, sometimes anger.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I was thinking fear. Like, I'm really afraid I say anything, you'll be grossed out. I'm really afraid if I if I speak any of this, you'll think I'm a slut. I'm afraid if I say any of this, God's going to be mad at me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
whatever you're afraid of, start to name, like, what's the worst thing that could happen to you if you were to talk openly and honestly about your desires? Free yourself from keeping that on the inside by saying it
Yeah.
out loud.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like this really is, in my mind, it's good for your health. It's good for longevity. Like it's going to clear stagnation of energetic emotions out of your body
liberation.
that could cause dis-ease, probably is causing disease. So move it along.
And it's interesting, when we study Tantra, so much of the Tantric practices are actually a purification process.
Yeah.
It's using your touch and your breath and your sound and your communication to move that which is stuck, to move that which is fear, shame, and guilt, and get it out of your system so that you can run the energy of love and bliss and those things that are freeing, and you deserve to be liberated. It's kind of one of the things a lot of people come into a body to discover. So how about you?
It's your birthright. You get to be liberated, and it's such a better life to live being freed up. I'm telling you, go for it. Just start.
We've really talked so much about, we'll just kind of run through this list of things that will revitalize your sex life. And we've gone into details on many of them, which is communicate openly, try new things, be spontaneous, prioritize intimacy, address your relationship issues, be open to vulnerability, experiment, and adapt. Experiment, make those little shifts, and then adapt to the things that you like. I think the thing maybe we haven't addressed really directly, unlike some of these other things on the list, is be open to vulnerability. What do you want to say about that?
Oh, vulnerability is one of the keys to good intimacy, and you absolutely have to do it. And it's also one of the scariest things about intimacy, because the word itself translates to woundable. If you've listened to our podcast, you've heard us say that many times. And so, you could get hurt, but that's why it's so deep. That's why vulnerability creates such epic intimacy, because it's a risk. You're taking a risk.
Yeah.
If you stay in the risk-free zone where everything's safe and comfortable all the time your whole life, you're not going to grow.
Boring.
You're not going to evolve. That's boring. Yeah. If you're always in the risk phase, you're going to burn your adrenals out, so you got to have a balance. You got to have a balance. And I feel like vulnerability within intimacy is a really sweet place to explore taking a risk.
It's where the honeypot is. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's so very rare that you're like, oh my God, I'm so nervous to tell you this. I'm so embarrassed, or I'm so, scared to share this fantasy that I have with you, or this old trauma that I'm still carrying, or whatever it is that you want to share. But when you preface it like that, I'm so nervous, or I'm so scared, the other person's nervous system just softens and opens immediately. And they're just more ready to be with whatever your truth is.
I think also saying, I'm scared to share this with you. Please be gentle with me. I'm worried you might judge me. I want my desires to be safe with you. This is not a request to act out my fantasy. This is a request for me to feel closer to you. And for me to share things that I'm afraid to share. But I trust you and I love you. And I just need you to be really gentle as you listen. Let the person know they don't have to do anything with your share. They just need to be with you.
Right.
And that'll be so fulfilling, and you'll feel closer to each other. I think too, when it comes to vulnerability, what's more vulnerable than getting naked? It's ironic, right? Or maybe not, that these two things all come together.
Absolutely.
Well, we hope you liked that episode on boring sex. We're now coming to you from Portugal.
Hey, everyone. We just finished our incredible retreat in Greece. It was so profound and so powerful and amazing. And you may have noticed that we ended this last episode rather abruptly because Leah had a coaching call, I believe. And so we just wanted to, follow up with don't have boring sex in your life.
Yeah, to kind of wrap it up a little more smoothly. So, as you know, what makes the show better is your comments, you entering the discussion, you sharing your ideas, you sharing your struggles, and you sharing your breakthroughs so that we can all learn from each other. So do us a favor, please like, subscribe, and comment about this episode right into us. We love to share what people share with us. on air. And so please send us your thoughts, your feelings.
Love, love, love.
Love, love, love.
Thanks for tuning in. This episode was hosted by Tantric Sex Master Coach and Positive Psychology Facilitator Leah Piper, as well as by Chinese and Functional Medicine Doctor and Taoist Sexology Teacher Dr. Willow Brown. Don't forget, your comments, likes, subscribes, and suggestions matter. Let's realize this new world together.